earmarks and the Affordable Care Act. So, House Republicans have shut down the federal government in a last-ditch effort to defund Obamacare, but they might be responsible for the bill's creation. Joining me tonight to explain on Capitol Insider is David Williams, president of the nonpartisan Taxpayers Protection Alliance. Dave, let's set the scene here. It's 2005. Republicans control the House and Senate, and earmarks are a way of doing business. In a recent article, you say this is where Obamacare really got its start. Tell us more.
Well, if you look at 2005, we had the bridge to nowhere. This was the poster child for earmarks for government waste, and people across the country said, no more pork barrel spending, and they forced Congress to get rid of it. In 2006, just less than a year later, Congress earmarked $30 billion in earmarks, and this was when the Republicans, like you said, controlled the House and Senate, and people said, you know something, enough is enough. We're going to try a new party in charge. We're going to throw the Republicans out. We're going to put the Democrats in charge of the House. That's 2006 when the Republicans lost their majority, and that really started the ball rolling for the Democrats to become in charge of both the Senate and the House.
All right, fast forward to 2010. Republicans regained the House. Here's part of your op-ed published in the Daily Caller. The Democrats felt the voters' wrath, and Tea Party grassroots activists elected a Republican majority in the House. Unfortunately, by then, the damage had been done. Dave, we know you're no big fan of big government, but what exactly are you advocating here? Divided government?
Absolutely. We need divided government. We need a system of checks and balances. We already have a pseudo system of checks and balances, but I think we need one that's deeper both in the House and the Senate, so you don't have legislation that just is rubber stamped. Look at Medicare expansion under George Bush. The House and Senate were controlled by Republicans. It just went straight through without a lot of debate. They kept the vote open for, I think it was like 4 or 5 hours so the bill would pass, and we saw the same thing with Obamacare as that this went through. So having one party in control is not good for this country.
Either way, the rhetoric of this shutdown fight has shifted away from Obamacare. On Saturday, the House unanimously approved a measure to reimburse furloughed federal workers. In addition, market research firm IHS Global Insight estimates the shutdown could cost $1.6 billion a week in lost economic output. Make some sense out of this. What's the point?
Well, the point is, as much as fiscal conservatives don't want to admit it, but the government puts a lot of money into the economy. And if you look at housing, small business loans, just the money that the employees, the federal employees get and they spend in the economy, but the markets and losing wealth, when the markets lose 10, 15, 100 points, that's where the big ramifications come in. We're talking about $1.6 billion a day up to almost $48 or $50 billion a month. And Morris, we've talked about this before. Markets hate uncertainty. Imagine if we don't get the debt ceiling fixed, what this is going to mean for wealth creation in this country.
The president spoke this afternoon. He's very eloquent. He gives good speeches, but I'm starting to worry that all I'm hearing are speeches. Shouldn't he be down wrestling on the floor with the House members, a good old mud fight? I mean, what does he have to do? What do Republicans have to do?
Well, first of all, there's nothing new that's being said.
Right.
The Republicans are saying that we wanted to fund Obamacare, and the president is saying no. And then he'll call up the House Speaker and say, I'm not negotiating. That's not a conversation. The American people want a real conversation. They don't care which party wins, which party loses in this. They want a resolution to this that can get the country moving forward again.
And I'm not being political, but if you've got something named after you, Obamacare, Mojo Care, it's a pretty good idea that during your term you're not going to give it up, so Republicans need to move on and find something else. Now let's move on. You're also following complaints of corporate cronyism at the Export-Import Bank. What's going on there?
Well, the Export-Import Bank is the quintessential corporate welfare program, because what this does is gives low-interest loans to foreign entities to buy American products. The problem is that it's not all American products, that we pick winners and losers, so you have certain companies that are gaining and others that just don't gain by this.
Now, you think taxpayers should be concerned about the bank's relationship with Boeing. Why?
Well, Boeing's last year they had about $80 billion in sales. About $12 billion of that was subsidized by the Export-Import Bank. And Morris, let me give you a really quick example here. Air India received an Export-Import Bank loan, I guess it was last year or the year before, to buy a bunch of Boeing planes. They started a route from New York to Mumbai, and it really pushed Delta Airlines out of that market because they had this low interest loan and they could offer lower tickets. So this is the ramifications of this program and of the Export-Import Bank.
Incredible. Just when you think it can't get any crazier. Well, let's head down to the Capitol. Let's get some business done, Dave. Somebody's got to flip the switch, get the business back on. We might as well start the government with you, right?
I have some pitchforks in my Jeep.
Let's do it. Dave Williams, president of the Taxpayers Protection Alliance. Thanks and good luck, Dave.
Thank you.